This is a video to document the fire, the effect of the fire, Humboldt fire, on my little neighborhood, Runaway Road. And the fire first came towards us over over the ridge up here. That's the butte. You can see it's pretty burned. And over here, it's the next butte. And the fire came into our valley down these buttes. Our valley is long and runs north to south, and the fire came from the northwest, which is this direction, down from those buttes. And because it came so fast, and there were so many other areas where houses were threatened, there was no time for any fire trucks or firefighters to get here to help anybody. So the fire swept through from the left here, across the road, and probably the first house in my neighborhood that was consumed with fire was the Bayless's house. This used to be a beautiful green pasture with a white fence around it, and the house was up and behind these trees. Now we're entering Bayless's, and this is all that remains up here of a beautiful two-story house. And they had outbuildings and goats and chickens, and they lost all but one of their goats, many of their chickens, their family cat, and they had barely time to evacuate before the fire swept through. This is entering the Bayless's residence, and there used to be a building on the left, and the house was on the right. It is sunny today. This is 3 months later, and the pasture is still all black. This is where the fire first came through. This was a beautiful two-story house with a garage attached, and this fire, they estimated, was so hot, maybe 3,000 degrees. There is literally nothing left of most of the house. Joan did tell me the other day that quail have nested in this abandoned wood stove insert. So life begins again. We're not sure if the Baylesses are going to return to their home or not. I'm not sure if they're going to rebuild it. Right in front, the rose garden survived. The fences survived, most of them. This was the goat pen, and this was where a barn. And here's their chickens that are left, in a new pen, and they brought their horses back. The trampoline wasn't touched, and they brought their horses back to graze here. The fire was a grass fire for the most part, and you can see how the trees are burned on the bottom, and yet they're still green on the top in this area. This is part of the wildlife refuge, which borders our road on the west side, and the fire came down the butte through the wildlife refuge onto our road. Here's the road heading south, and it's burned on both sides. This is the wildlife refuge on the right side. That would be the west side. And this is the pasture land on the left. We're coming up to the next property, which is Patty Harris's. And it's probably the second place that was consumed by the fire. This is the edge of Patty's property. This is what's left of Patty Harris's house on the hillside. the dog kennels in the back, and that was the house. And the pasture. The fire pretty much stopped at the road right there. And on the other side of the road, behind those trees, is a house that survived. So here's another view of Patty Harris's house a little farther down the road. Runaway Road from the Baylesses goes south, and then it makes a sharp turn to the east. And the fire did not touch the house across the street from Patty. It burned the area to the right of that house, right up to the house, but it left that house intact. The Baylesses are renting that house from Jim and Jan Sontag right now. This is a shot of the wildlife refuge. Again, it was mostly a grass fire. And some of these oak trees, it looks almost like fall. They're brown, but it's all from the fire. Pretty well blackened all on the ground. A lot of the big pine trees had to be cut down, but the tops of the oak trees, many of them are still green, so we hope they'll all come back. This is nearing the corner where Runaway Road makes a sharp turn to the east. This is the house that survived, Jim and Jan Sontag, and it's burned on this side, Patty Harris's, and it's not burned on the right side of the road. So the road stopped the fire in this area. Now I've turned east where the road makes a turn. It's another view of Patty Harris's house, or what's left of it. The fire was really hot in this area, I think, and yet it didn't cross the road. These eucalyptus trees have been trimmed severely, but they're coming back. And there's the road, and then on the right side of the road it's barely burned at all. Final view of Patty Harris's house. It's hard to imagine how hot the fire was. Continuing down the road a little farther to the east, this is the left side of the road. It's all burned. And then the right side of the road, these eucalyptus caught on fire, but they're coming back. And then over here we have the Brown's house, which did not suffer, didn't burn at all. It probably helped that they had a big open field here and they irrigate a lot. So you can see their house is up on that hillside and was not burned by the fire. This was the edge of the fire here. Past Patty Harris's property on the left here, we move on to the Doolittle's house, which is straight ahead down there. This is the beginning of the Doolittle's property, and they're cleaning up what remains of their house to rebuild. It's a long process, and right now they're removing all the debris.